protecting Main Street from Wall Street. It's Chris Hoffman with Money Unleashed.
How much money do you put into your checking account from work on a month-to-month basis? It has a high probability that with your investable assets, we can replace that paycheck.
It's time to put you back in control of your money.
You've worked for 35 years. It's time for you to not stress. It's time for you to enjoy and live the retirement you want to live.
It's Money Unleashed with Chris Hoffman.
Welcome into the Money Unleashed podcast with Chris Hoffman. We've got a great discussion for you today, and we appreciate you checking out the show. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. With that said, let's jump into the show. Now, here's a word you hear a lot on the show: income. In fact, I'd go as far as to say, Chris, that we usually give that word to you in triplicate when we're talking about retirement planning, because it's all about income, income, income.
That's right.
Creating an income plan is more important than ever, given our longer lives and the uncertainty that we can and will experience across all of those years. And Kiplinger shared some income strategies designed for the long haul, so I thought we could discuss some of these, starting with perhaps the retirement income by the bucket strategy.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I think people underestimate how powerful their financial lives are in total. And I specifically use that language versus saying your portfolio. Please, folks, do not obsess in your 60s, okay? We're getting later in our working lives. Please do not obsess over the total dollar figure in your portfolios. Better yet, obsess over the buckets of income that you can generate from your financial life. What do I mean by that? Well, Social Security, that's not a net worth. If I ask somebody, how much are you worth? And they'll say $1 million plus my homes. Okay, they'll never include Social Security. And Social Security could pay you $1 million over your course of your retirement life, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big number. So you're all millionaires if you have Social Security. Congratulations. If I had a sword, I could
Knight them.
Yeah,
there you
say
go.
you're a millionaire. All right, you're a Social Security millionaire. So that's your first bucket of income. The next one potentially could be pensions, although they're not as readily available or offered as generations past. But some of you have pensions, and those can be very powerful, both from a guaranteed income standpoint and or pulling the cash balance and investing it for income. Other things like ownership in stocks that actually reward you for holding their stock by paying you a dividend. Some of them are known as the aristocrat dividends that have consistently paid or raised their dividends over a 30-plus year period of time. Pretty reliable, not a bad way to generate income for your retirement lifestyle. Obviously, you could use, if you don't have a pension, you could look into an income annuity, which looks like, feels like, and acts like a pension from my perspective, which is you deposit money into an annuity that you retain the value of that money. It's not like a pension where you've contractually given it up. There are annuities that do that. I don't recommend doing that. That's called true annuitization. I'm talking about having, let's say, $100,000 in an income annuity that guarantees you a payment of X per month for the rest of your life. But that $100,000 has the ability to grow or can decrease if the market's not growing and you're pulling all that money out. But whatever would remain, if there's anything left in that bucket, goes on to your beneficiaries. So some income annuities can be very valuable for the certain type of investor. So look into that as well. The last thing that I don't shy away from talking about it because there are people out there that have passions. I happen to work in the industry that I'm very passionate about, so that works for me. But the majority of workers out there, I don't think would want to work until they pass away in their current jobs. But is there something that you would enjoy doing in retirement that would pay you a little bit of side money or would provide you an insurance policy? That could be helpful in generating some additional income. But for those of you that don't want to work part-time in retirement, one of the other things we could work on, quote unquote, together is limiting your tax burden. Take your gross income and try to get your net income from it as close to that gross number as possible, instead of the government taking 30% of your total investable assets over your lifetime. So we can work on that job, and we'll take the lead on it, is limiting your tax burden that you experience so that your net income looks very close to the gross income that you produced.
And a lot of that comes from that diversification we've talked about already on the show, because given the impact of taxes, it's important to have methods for managing those on your retirement income and give yourself options, because not all of your retirement income sources, of course, are taxed the same, as you've talked about quite a bit.
Yeah, so let's talk about the types and the buckets of investable assets you can have. There are basically three of them. There's pre-tax money. That's the most common out there, unfortunately. That's your pre-tax 401k, your pre-tax IRA. Was put in without paying any taxes on it, and it has grown tax deferred. Unfortunately, there is a day of reckoning with that, and the United States is now facing that big time. The other two are taxable accounts. Taxable accounts are investable accounts where you have paid the taxes already. You invest the remainder of the money, and as it grows, you only pay on what you produce. So if it grows, you're going to pay capital gains, or if it generates an income stream for you, you're going to pay income tax on that. But if the market decreases, you can also take capital losses against it. So that's bucket number 2. And bucket number 3, our favorite bucket, is the Roth 401k, the Roth IRA. Please, folks, if you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s and still working, you have to consider splitting a decent size, and that's going to depend on the individual investor or family. But you have to consider opening up that Roth 401k. You have to consider contributing to a Roth every year. You can even do a backdoor Roth, and every one of you should have done that for 2024. So those are some of the tidbits on how I would structure this and work on that income. Because if you check that box, the rest of the plan kind of falls in place. It gives you extended time in the market where you don't have to panic. It also allows you to leave your assets invested in the market and not pull from them. Because one of the biggest sins I see investors make, and actually I blame financial advisors for this, is investors will say, okay, I need $60,000 a year. And the financial advisor will say, okay, I'll send you $5,000 a month. That's ridiculous, folks. There's no portfolio that will, if properly designed, will send you exactly a number every single month for the rest of your life. Unless you've thrown it all into an annuity, and nobody would do that. You're going to have variations. You're going to have different interest rates on different products that pay you at different times. You're going to have different percentage payouts on dividends that pay you at different times. So if you need $60,000, the answer is, financial advisor, design a plan and show me how much income you can send me from all sources without selling anything. That's the first thing you ask them to do. If that number is not high enough for you to sustain your lifestyle, then you have to have a deeper conversation about when and where and how you will pull that remaining set of funds. Maybe that is something you've got to plan for the $10,000 or $20,000 event that we discussed in the previous segments. Or maybe it's this year, it's January, your first meeting with your financial advisory team, you forecast, hey, we're going to go on a big vacation. It's going to cost us $10,000 or $15,000 or whatever the number is. Start looking for opportunities to generate enough income at the right time to send us that, because we're going to travel in June, July, August, whenever. So communication with your financial advisor, extremely important. Insight into your lifestyle, things that are changing, things that are going on with your kids, your grandkids, your home life. Is the house too big? Is the house becoming too expensive? Do we need to downsize? How do we downsize? All of those things are important discussions to have with your financial advisory team. And that's why at Hoffman Financial Group, we offer every client a quarterly review. Can be done via Zoom, can be done in person in one of our 7 locations, whatever you're comfortable with, but we've got to touch base once a quarter. This cannot just be an annual review because, again, The annual review ends up being a scorecard. If you sat down with us in January of 2025, we're naturally going to show you all of 2024's results.
Of course.
But there's nothing we can do about them at this point.
Right.
So now we need to talk about 2025. How are we going to tackle this? What are our expectations? What are our targets? How much income can we generate? And you've got to tell us what your life's going to look like in 2025. That is a cohesive financial advisory team. 90%, and I was going to say 99%, but I think that's cruel. At least 90% of the financial big box firms, the financial advisors out there, 90% of them, and it's my guess, just keep score. And it's really not powerful for you as an individual family and a retired couple. Because when you hang up your cleats, the paycheck stops. So what's going to replace it? And what guarantees do you have on that replacement? So if you want answers on all of that, and you want a good, solid fiduciary advisory team to work with you on it, call us. 404-341-6767 or go online to unleashyourmoney.com and click on the Portfolio X-ray. We'll do all the work. We'll prepare it all for our first meeting, and we'll give you a copy of it, and it's all free of charge. But you have the most important step, listener.
Yeah.
You got to pick up the phone and call, or you got to go online. If you do that, we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, the income plan is a critical component to a successful retirement. Knowing that you've got that money coming in on a regular and reliable basis, that's the sweet spot. It helps knowing that you've got income you can count on throughout retirement. So let's talk about income generation in retirement today. Hoffman Financial Group will take that Replace My Paycheck challenge. They'll gather some information from you about your portfolio, then create that strategy that generates reliable income designed to do just that, to replace your paycheck. 404-341-6767 is the phone number, 404-341-6767, or you can sign up at unleashyourmoney.com. Just click that button that says Replace My Paycheck, and best of all, it's a complimentary service. Chris Hoffman is an investment advisor representative of Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor and affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and Hoffman Financial Group are affiliated under common ownership. Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interest of our clients and to make full disclosures of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV2A, page 4, for additional information. The Hoffman Financial Group and WSB are not affiliated. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. This information should not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional specializing in the field of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Any client experiences discussed during the show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments will fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone. Index or fixed annuities are not designed for short-term investments and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV2A Item 4, for additional information. Hoffman Financial Group is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Insurance licensed in Georgia, number 163546.